Welcome everyone for another live from the studio. I'm with Carnalex. I'm going to launch the intro. Oh, before I launch the intro, I was trying to send this piece of music in binaural, so quadraphonic to binaural to YouTube. So I don't know if you wore your headset, if you had the sense of space. Let me know in the comments. So first the intro and news. Alright, let me check that I've got everything set up correctly. Alright, I'm with Carnalex. Hi, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Okay, let me go and get through the news. I see a few people are here. Alphaster, X-Friends, I don't know who his X-Friend is. Malarkey, Synthsong Music, That Girl. Who else do I have? Wokas Messia, Kako Guzman Music, Peronosphora. Welcome everybody, Waza. Alright, let's launch the news. Let me hide some things. Here we go. Wait, it didn't work. One more time. Alright, that should be me on the screen for the moment. Okay, news. You know my site, pitchymango.org. Please check it out. I want to thank all my subscribers, Bandcamp supporters. Please join it. It's only $20 a year, and that helps me to do this show, make music, and other things. So please consider it. Bandcamp.com. I'm showing this page because we have a resident which is coming on Tuesday, April 13, and I think I've got the list of performers. So we will have Intenfon, Feds, Justin, Manifold Theory, Mr. Unruly, and Next Expanse. So that looks like a real awesome lineup. It's on April 13. It's Tuesday 8 p.m. Carnalex has performed before there also. We do that every month, and I usually post the sign up page on Bandcamp first and then on Facebook. It's just usually the weekend just after the show you get the sign up page. Alright, what else do we have? We have Resonant Frequencies, which will be on, it's a 1 year anniversary of the COVID edition. I don't know you call it, home edition, full restream edition. So Resonant Frequency is doing all this show live. Resident we do pre-recorded, but you have the show live. Resonant Frequency, everything is live. Audio and visualists are paired live and then broadcast to you, so it's gonna be awesome. It's on April 1st. I've heard that the lineup is set up, but it hasn't been public, so watch out. It should be coming soon, and usually there's like 10 performance. What else do we have? Oh, talking about anniversary show, you've got Modular World, the first year anniversary, started on May 8, 2020. Here are half of the performers. Here is the other half of performers. I will be honored also to be part of the performance, and you see there's a ton of people that you know about. So that's a really awesome show that John Wells is putting. So Modular World on May 8 and 9, and that will be on YouTube, the Modular World channel. I don't have it on hand, but you will find it. Alright, what else? I've been listening and watching this weekend SoundQuest Fest. It's going live, so it started yesterday, and I think it finished tomorrow. It's really awesome ambient music, and I think it starts today at 2:30 or 3:30. So please have a look at SoundQuest Fest live, it's quite nice. So now the big question of the day, is it Bandcamp Friday? Not yet, it's on April the 2nd, 2021. And so get ready. If you want to know when Bandcamp Friday is, there's this awesome website here where you can know everything about it. So as we are talking about Bandcamp, but we have Malarkey release Consequence of Tomorrow. So here is the album, and we've got a little video, so let's transit to the video and we'll come back. tomorrow there was a malarkey consequence of tomorrow. You can get his album, and that's part of Error Grid label. Got plenty stuff. John Wells is also on the Error Grid label. As we are talking about Bandcamp, we've got our friend Wabi Sabi. I don't see him yet on the chat. I'm sure he's going to be here soon. Release a track, Band Beginning, so please check it. And now I'm with X-Ran, so let me change all these settings. Sorry, it's a bit... I'm confused with technology. Where is the... Ah, yes, here it is. And I'm going back to Carnalex. There we go. So I'm with Carnalex. Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, Frank. Good. It's I'm in Brooklyn right now, and it's really nice outside. The city is coming back to life, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's nice. I've got a beautiful sun also here. Yeah. You will see in some of the shot. I've got several visuals, so you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite nice. So let's start by who are you?
Who am I? So my name is Alex, and I'm 41. I was born and raised in Mexico City. So I like gritty urban. That's my thing. And I moved to the U.S. when I was 27 for grad school. In political science. I'm a political scientist, actually, so to speak. And that's it. I've been living in New York. I've been living in the US for about 15 years now, 5 in New York, and just trying to make the best, like everyone else, out of COVID, enjoying, learning more about, how to stream and how to do modular and just loving being part of the community and just watching it grow and just, explode. So that's it. That's, I guess, a quick recap of me.
All right, that sounds good. I see Ben Brown and Alex Barnett join, and also Malaki is here.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. I want to remind everyone, please subscribe on this channel and also follow X-Ran, and I'll put your Bandcamp site so people can see your new release and information.
Yeah.
And if you have got any question for Alex, also known as Carnalex, also known as X-Ran, please type them in the chat and I will relay. So maybe the first question is why Carnalex and why X-Ran?
Okay, Carnalex is... So there's a word in Mexico that is very typical from Mexico City, and it's slang, and it's carnal, right? And it's a way of calling like friends. It means like brother, okay? And carnal is a very Mexico City thing, and people outside of Mexico City make fun of us because we talk in a weird slang way, and that word is very typical. And so for me, it's kind of like a back to the roots, back to home thing. And so it kind of played nicely with Alex. Now that being said, that's all the nice story behind it, but the reality is simpler also, which is that was my gaming handle, and then I joined Discord, and then suddenly that's like my Discord persona. So, but it has this meaning of like it's a wordplay between carnal and Alex. So if there's anyone here that speaks Chilango or has been to Mexico City might understand what I'm talking about. X-Runs. So I use Linux. That's my OS, and I really don't want to get into why. We all know, but there's an audio error in Linux called X-Runs, which is when the buffer doesn't match. It's something with the IO and the buffer, and so because I'm a Linux user and I just love it, and also because I make music, it was just like who's gonna know? Who's gonna have that? Nobody would have taken that name beforehand because first of all, there's like 5 Linux users in the world, and It's probably like, there's very few Linux musicians.
So you pick up Xrun, and I'm showing your Instagram page where you're known as Xruns _.
Yeah. So, I just started my Instagram, I think in August of last year during the heat of the lockdown. And I've always hated Instagram. I feel like a lot of us have this double thing because you hate it, but it's kind of useful. I never really used it for anything else. But I do like the idea of seeing what other people are doing and things that interest me. And so for me, I can like abstract away the algorithm and all the Facebook bullshit and just use it as a tool to get in contact with people that are doing things that I find interesting and that push me a little bit harder towards, becoming a little bit better to the extent I can. So,
yeah.
Over. Sir, this is for Wendy's. Okay, done.
Yes, and yeah, I've been on Instagram also. It's bringing followers a little bit more than Facebook. And now there's I don't know, I've been on TikTok but not fully, and now there's a new stuff which is Clubhouse. It seems you need to surf the wave of a new social network, so you get a lot of followers, and then as soon as they monetize, then you move to the next one.
Yeah. I'm an Android user, so I'm not part of the cool clique of people who are using Clubhouse yet. I suspect it's because maybe it's a small team and it takes time to develop for two OSs or something, but
yeah, usually you need twice the developers, so you need a developer team on iPhone and you need another developer team on Android. Very hard to to be able to do both at the same time.
Yeah,
for one developer,
especially for a small team.
Yeah. Wokas Messia is saying that he doesn't use Xrun, but he uses Ardor on a Mac. So
Ardor is great. I didn't know they had it on Macs, on Mac. I used to use it, and then I found Reaper, and because Reaper also has a native Linux, which runs really good, and I love their pricing system. They have this very fair kind of like pricing system. But then in making music in Linux was always a challenge, but then Bitwig came out from Ableton. A group of engineers left Ableton and redesigned the whole concept around modulation from the ground up, and they have Bitwig. And so Bitwig has a native Linux solution. So that has been my DAW of choice for the last 5 years already. So Ardor is amazing. It's a great piece, and I haven't kept track, but it has definitely improved so much in the UX since last time I saw it.
Yeah, there's been some great progress. I used to be also a Linux user. I know back in the day the audio was a little bit, I don't know, every 1 year or 2 years there was a new audio framework. They couldn't settle on something that was well working. I guess now it's settled, hopefully.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit more into music and leave away all these computers. How did you get into music?
So I don't come from a very musical family. Actually, I would say nothing. But when I was 7 years old, my grandfather gave me a small Casio SK1, which was, I believe, four voices, and it the main feature was that it had a sampler, right? And so you could sample, I believe, like a minute, like a second and a half in 8-bit or something like that. And so suddenly very early on, I understood sampling, but obviously 7-year-old me decided that the best use I could do was sample myself burping. And so I would just, drive my parents, annoy them. It had, part of the preset songs that it had was Leopold Mozart has a song, a piece called the Toy Symphony. And so that was part of that. And so you could sample whatever you sample, it would use your sample play that preset. And so that, I think, that was my first ever contact with musical instruments, like with tactile music instruments, for sampling my burps back in the day. But that was like kind of like a nice thing as a kid. And then, in middle school, start playing the guitar because you're in middle school, and that's what middle schoolers do sometimes. And I started more seriously learning music, and then I transitioned to bass. One of my best friend's older brother with long hair, who went to like this crazy metal like concert in Mexico City, was a bass player. And so I was like struck by it, just by the power. It's like a powerful instrument, the bass. And so I switched to bass. And then I did a couple of years of formal training in the conservatory in Mexico City. But then I just dropped it because I wasn't going to formally study music, unfortunately. And so I did the whole bass player band for many, many, many years, until I discovered electronic music a little bit in my like late teens, early 20s. And then that's when I switched to the DAW, starting with Reason back in the day. I'm sure a lot of you guys also started with Reason, some of you. But yeah, so it has been other than the sampler at a very early stage, I think I followed a very typical middle school guitar player that then kind of like finds his own taste and just focuses and develops that. And my latest kind of like iteration is now with modular, and trying to think about how to use modular as an instrument, how to use it as one more tool in the menu available to me to kind of like have a creative vision, and then trying to to create it. And so that for me, that means that there is value in having, for example, other systems aiding the eurorack. So for example, a computer, right? And I try to incorporate in my music the modular as a central piece, and then certain elements in the periphery adding stuff to whatever the result is. And so I feel like the mix between organic and electronic for me is a very appealing thing. I work in machine learning. That's my day job. And so this whole thing with AI, which the public discourse is just stupid the way we all talk about it. But there's this idea that, the machine, I have this, like lately it's the machine, in my mind it's the machine, and how I can incorporate a human or organic element into that. And so that means a little bit trying to get off the grid sometimes, which I always fail spectacularly because,
No, not really. We all think we are failing, but we are experimenting, and sometimes there's some paths we take we don't like.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and what's the relationship with political science, or is it for getting away from that, or you put your mood or into your music?
It's completely unrelated, and I want to keep it like that.
Or you separate it?
Yeah, I try to separate because it's difficult to mix it, and also I ended up a little bit tired of reading politics and papers and books, and like it was just, I got tired, like my brain just. And now instead of that, I noodle and I patch and I learn synthesis, and so it's like my past life, in some way.
Yeah. And I just was trying to see, where's your inspiration come from in your music?
Politics is very what's the word, cacophonic. I don't know if that's a word in English,
Yes,
but
I think so.
it's noise and mess, and so sometimes I try to actually incorporate that feeling of seeing the public discourse so noisy and, sampling, for example, politicians and then distorting them in the sampler and modulating the hell out of everything to make it represent what they really are in some sense,
Yeah, yes, that's interesting. And I'm switching. When you started Modular, which way did you start? What was the spark? Oh.
I wanted to buy a synthesizer, a real synthesizer, because I was really getting over the whole DAW thing only, and I wanted something more tactile. And so I was debating whether I should which synthesizer I would buy. And at some point I realized that there's like types of synthesizers, like, where the signal is predetermined by the manufacturer in some sense, and another like very open system that allows you to really take it wherever you want. And so I decided to get a modular synth as my first synth. And I was debating about it in my mind a lot, right? And the first module I got was the DPO. So I got one of those crappy like Synthrotech Pelican cases, and my first module was a DPO and an ADSR, and then an Akemi's Castle. And this was like 5 years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago.
That's cool.
The DPO, I miss the DPO. The DPO is such a beast. It's such an amazing complex oscillator. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I was always able to like tweak it. It's like very friendly even for beginners, because it's so powerful that a few tweaks here and there make these amazing soundscapes, and it was great. So my first synthesizer in this Pelican case I'm telling you was a duophonic. I made a duophonic synthesizer. So 2 voices, 2 separate voices, 2 separate MIDI channels. And at some point I got into doing like a tribute to Wendy Carlos. And so I would download the MIDI files of Bach, some Bach pieces or piano pieces, and then I would try to replicate the human touch in the MIDI and figure out what the average BPMs was for other, for people that play that for real. And so I had this phase in which I was doing a little bit of like readapting Baroque music, as a tribute. I don't know, like tribute, but like a thing I was into, and so.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I was just reading also what Wokas Messia was saying, on the political stuff. Quote from Ed Dole: "How can I make something that reflects the turbulence of this period without adding to it?" I find that's interesting.
Yeah.
Alpha Serse also creating a politically inspired ambient piece would be a real challenge. That girl said that the DPO was also her first module, and
nice.
And Ben Brown also. Well, he had the semi-modular with the Pittsburgh Liveform SV1. Also, that's quite cool. And peronosphora, the question also. So from there, when was your first performance, and where, and with what modules?
My first performance, and really. So I did. So there's a place here in New York called Much More's, and it's a small bar venue in Williamsburg, in South Williamsburg, and they used to have Sunday modular stuff there. I played once very briefly, and then there's a bar here in Bushwick called Alphaville, which is also like a venue, and I use this kind of like duophonic thing that I'm telling you about. to to play. I don't play live. I didn't play live that often earlier because I was just living all this stuff. But now, one thing that COVID taught me is that I'm less of a misanthrope. I'm less antisocial than I thought I was. And so, once this is over, hopefully soon, I want to start playing live again. Obviously, everybody wants to, but for me, it's like a new feeling to want to do it.
You think this place will be reopened once COVID is a little bit behind?
I hope so. Because they're both great venues. Yeah.
Was this event organized by New York Modular Society?
No. This was like very, very long ago. It was some random guy I met on Craigslist, I think. Like one of those things, like, just super random. And I think the New York Modular Society is much more recent than that. I think it might be about a year and a half old, if I remember correctly. Huge shout out to them. All the love to NIMS. Amazing community.
Putting the page and the link.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think you got involved with New York Modular Society. So when that happened?
So during COVID, when everybody went online, and I want to say Discord, but I'm sure there's other platforms, but it seems like everybody's using mostly Discord. And so I think some, like on Reddit maybe, or I don't remember exactly why. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like a bunch of people that know more than I do 100 times about this stuff, and that I can talk to and interact. Because in my circle, like people are not very musical in general. And so, it was fantastic. And before joining and before getting into modular again during COVID, in between those two shows that I just told you and my new modular phase, I took about 3 years in which my modular was just there and I didn't even touch it because I was going back to, to digital and to samplers. And so when COVID hit, I started doing modular again and I found NIMS and it was like, oh my God, perfect. And it's, amazing resources and everybody's super friendly, in all these communities. It's amazing how friendly people are, So it's been definitely a very integral part of my recent development in the modular stuff.
Yes, we found the communities. I'm going to put also on the chat the invite to our Discord, Left Coast Light, which is on the side of the US, but from there you can get the invite to a New York Modular Society and other place on the Discord. So
I hang out in Left Coast Light also. It's also an amazing community, and very different. Like every society has its own personality, and I love it because it's different strengths and different just vibes, and so it enriches the experience in a way that I'm very happy with. And also at some point during early days of the pandemic, Earth Modular Society came about, and Schmooster and I believe Alpha Stair and some others founded it, and it also has its own personality. Also, huge shout out to them. And so Earth Modular Society, for anybody in the chat that might not know, is basically a 24/7 streaming platform that we built, or that was built, and you basically can go and stream whenever you want. And it's like a big playground. It's like a big, messy playground. And I love it. Like, I always think that Earth Modular Society is a playground full of kids doing stuff, except that all the kids are the kids from the Come to Daddy video by Aphex Twin. Those like super weird, like satanic whatever kids, and so EMS is this messy, community, and it's ever evolving, and so I've been pretty involved there in EMS. I do so I'm in charge of pushing out the clips on Instagram. So I've been trying to help grow that part. And so if you have ever seen one of our clips and thought like, who the hell is thinking these cheesy captions? That was most likely me.
It's you.
It's definitely it's probably me. Yeah, I gotta say. So yeah, this has been talked over and over and over, but it really, the silver lining that is almost a cliche by now, right? Right now it's almost a cliche to say this, but it's like one of the silver linings is how all these communities got in touch because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown. And I don't think I would have met any of you guys and gals, and so that's, I think for everybody in these communities is very enriching because it really shrunk the scene in a very interesting way.
Yes, indeed. I've got a few, congratulations for getting involved in the EMS, and peronosphora saying the cheesy captions sound delicious. And Alpha Star is saying, yeah, Schmuster is the main energy behind the EMS, and few other people came from the Colin Bender's server to help. So that's quite cool. We are at half past, so that's usually when I put the performance. Wait, I need to change things a little bit. Here we go. Half past, that's when I put a little bit the performance. I've been showing the site of Earth Modular Society and also their schedule, so I hope everybody saw that. It's a pretty full schedule of performer, and it's quite nice. You just you just say, hey, there's a free slot, and then you go there, and then you start streaming. It's a very low friction streaming place.
Low pressure, exactly. Yeah.
Low pressure, low friction. Yeah. I want to remind everybody to subscribe, like, go on Xrun, Instagram, and Bandcamp, follow everywhere. If you have got any question for Carnalex /Alex/Xruns, please ask them in the chat, and I will release them. So we are going to see your performance. Do you want to introduce it, or we just play it and talk about it later?
Let's do it.
Okay, all right. Let's do it. Well, that was really awesome. Thanks, Carnalex. That was really cool.
Thank you, Frank.
Put back the Bandcamp. Yeah, it was really nice. Nice. I don't know, piano line, slapping the bass, and also a nice drum. I don't know, drum set.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm basically using. So I have a hybrid setup, and so at first syncing my rig to the computer properly was a little bit of a challenge to me. I think it's not trivial, but it took me a little bit of tinkering around, and at some point I had to figure out that I had to impose a small delay on the clock device in Bitwig, and I had to manually calculate when it sounded good. It was like this whole thing, and it ended up being like, I think like 20 milliseconds. But now, once I solved that problem, then it opened up like a whole host of possibilities, because now I can do what each system does good, and I feel like each system has its own strengths, right? And so Modular is amazing for textures and sound design and exploration and open-endedness and flexibility. But the computer is good at other things that I think Eurorack is not. Or might I say, Eurorack is not as good. For example, making drums. Like if I wanted to make that drum set that I just used in the set, that would be expensive. That would be like expensive, And so
yeah, you need another Eurorack case.
Yeah, exactly. Like only for drums, so I'm happy with my hybrid system, even though I get a feeling that using a computer is a little bit frowned upon, and maybe for a good reason, because we spend so much freaking time in front of the computer that why would you want to make music with it, right? And so there's a very valid point, and I respect it. The difference is that, my approach is more, I want to use both systems in tandem so that I can exploit the strengths of both in my own system, and then add them as elements with the bass also, And so that opens up like possibilities, like the piano that I had and the drums. And so I'm manipulating everything, with my little controller here. And so I really love this idea of figuring out how to use what in a better way,
Yeah, that's nice. I see also all the people coming on the chat. Alex Barnett, Peronosphora, That Girl, Ben Brown, Maraki, Arduk also. Arduk does a show on KZSU, Sound Wheels, and it's so nice to have you today. And it's on the Tuesday in the evening that he does it, and he has been featuring some of my music and also some of the people that have come here on this show. So that's really nice from Arduk for doing that. So shout out also for Sound Wheels on KZSU. It's a Stanford radio, but you can also listen to it on the interweb. Everybody is saying that was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love seeing everybody. So many names there. I love it.
Yes. But we talk a little bit about geeky. So what got you to do this piece of music? What's the process?
So I wanted to. So the main thing driving some of the movement is the PAM's new workout. And so for this patch, I wanted to understand and start playing around with Euclidean rhythms, because I have never really explored any of this stuff, right? And so PAM's new workout is generating in 3 channels some Euclidean rhythms, and that is being patched to the amazing Verbose harmonic oscillator, which it's an oscillator that also has 8 harmonics as outputs. So you have the wave and then the 8 harmonics, and each harmonic has its own VCA, voltage control, obviously. And so that's being pinged by the Euclidean rhythms of the PAM's new workout. And so for me, it was a good excuse to start playing around with Euclidean rhythms. It's the first patch I use them, and so there's still, there's a lot to learn. But so that was kind of like the main driving force. And then the bass, like the bass, the synthesized bass is done by the ZPO. That's an SSF, steady state fast. I might be butchering it. Someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But it's a ZPO, and it's an oscillator with just amazing, insane capabilities through zero, and it just makes amazing sounds that I mostly use for bass. And so that is being controlled by the keystep. And the keystep, well, the Pro, and I love it because it has 4 sequencers in it. And so it's like it's a no-brainer to have it for me because it saves a lot of money for sequencers. And so I have one sequence doing the bass on the ZPO. What else do I have? Then I have the eloquencer. So in my system, eloquencer and assimilator are always working together. They're like one instrument, one unit. And it's super powerful because the eloquencer has this probabilistic approach to sequencing. You can determine probabilities, and you can determine ratchet probabilities and a bunch of interesting stuff. And it has 8 channels, and the assimilator has 8 channels too. And so I always patch them in tandem. The assimilator doing half of the channels I usually use as drums. So that kind of like distorted percussion that was in the background, that's one channel in the assimilator, and so on. And then the assimilator is amazing to just destroy samples because you can modulate every single parameter in super interesting ways. Oh yeah, there we go. Steady state fate. There we go. Yeah, I butchered it. Thanks, officer. So I think these two modules working in tandem for me are a keeper. I'm not going to get rid of them ever. I think that they're here to stay. And so I'm subutilizing my rig for this set. I'm not using any of the VCAs in the hex mix. I'm not using my vortices mixer, which is amazing. So it's a very limited set. And so I wanted to explore Euclidean rhythms with a very limited set of modules so that I could use the bass also to kind of like add some funk, some kink to it.
Yeah, kink is good.
No shaming here. No shaming.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was cool. Yeah, sometimes I've got this approach. It's more like I want to do explore some new technique, and that's where I start. Or if I do this kind of stuff with these things, and I start that, and then that gets the base to expand the patch.
Yeah, exactly. And something that I'm realizing in my workflow is that I have a patch and it's kind of like a mess, but then there's one signal flow particularly that I like. And so I unpatch everything and I keep that signal flow that I enjoyed, and then I repatch around it, exploring other elements. And it's all messy. But then there's like one signal flow in that new second patch that I like, and I repeat the process. And so now I have 2 things that I like. And when I think about it, I imagine it as when we're kids and you do these exercises where you have a piece of paper and you put some glue in it, and then you throw like these, how do you call it? Like the sparkling stuff?
Yeah. Glitter.
I don't know what the word in English is.
The glitter.
Oh, glitter, yeah. And so you pour the glitter all over the page, but then when you remove it, you keep that line of glue. And that in my mind is a little bit of my workflow for these things. And so what I try to do is in each iteration, explore one element and keep one chunk of the signal flow. And eventually down the line, that leads me to think about maybe I have something that is worth recording, and maybe I have something that is worth pushing out as its own standalone song. And so I start thinking everything as a global thing now, and a sequence of parts and practicing and then recording, which is a whole topic in and of itself. So eventually, after months, I usually in this process takes me usually like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, and I try by the end of that, even if I don't super like it, I want to push out something just as a matter of discipline as a musician, because it's just healthier to finish what you freaking start. And so it's also kind of like a closure. And then once that cycle is done, everything gets unpatched again, and from scratch. And I feel like a lot of people would have a very similar workflow, because just the instrument, that's because it's very ephemeral. What's the word? Ephemeral.
Oh, ephemeral. Yeah, ephemeral.
So by nature, modular seems to be very ephemeral, no? And
yeah, if you got the patch of the day, and then coming back to it later will be difficult, or you can come back to something that still sound around the same. Even when I perform with the same patch, two performances will be totally different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that plays really good into like the whole Instagram quick gratification, instant gratification for a few seconds and then move on, kind of like world that we're on now. In a way, it matches this frenzy that we're all doing, and it's interesting.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and it's nice. I like sometimes to take some project because I've got a deadline to release, and sometimes you have to say, maybe I could improve it, but it's gonna go because that's good.
Yeah, deadlines are horrible, but they are very useful, because otherwise you wouldn't. I would never finish anything, because you can always improve it, and at some point you just have to let go, just let it sail to the world and love it and never do anything.
Yeah, and sometimes it's I'm going to improve the next one.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I've done enough on this one. Sometimes I'm trying to improve and I make it worse. So I know that's a step I need to stop, because everything I'm doing after that is going downhill.
Yeah, there is such a thing as overdoing, for sure.
And I say, okay, well, let it out, and then the next one I've learned. So the next one I will be able to apply this learning practice from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I will learn something else. Yeah,
sounds like a life lesson you're giving us, Frank, right there.
I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Ben Brown said that he had to go, and he enjoyed that. I guess he'll come back and do a rewind. And Alpha Star say
modular mandala.
Modular mandala.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that totally.
Yeah, no, that's quite cool. Yeah, the approach for I don't know, making it. Did you start on this one from I don't know? Yeah, you say. So you've been performing on this patch a little bit, or some portion of it, and then you.
So for this patch, so I told you that I'm only utilizing a few modules, and those few modules I started patching from scratch. I think in my mind, the modules and the signal flow that I used for this set are. I'm gonna keep the Euclidean rhythm part with the verbose oscillator, and I'm gonna then add it to some of the stuff that I've been working prior. Right now, I'm in the process of finishing mixing a song that I will be releasing probably in the next month. That is a result of my patches of New York Modular Society first for the patchable performers, and then with you on the Resident about, I think, 1 month ago-ish.
Yeah.
And so I explored one signal flow for NIMS, and then a different signal flow with you. And I kind of liked the result, and I just polished it. And so I recorded it. And so I'm working on that. I'm going to be releasing that probably in the next month. And I'm pretty proud of it. I like it a lot personally. And And so after that, I unpatched everything, and so I'm kind of like in this new iteration. So this would be like probably like the second glue, like the second round of glue, let's say, this patch for you. Okay. Somehow you're always involved in my patches, Frank. I like that.
Okay, all right. That's cool. Yeah, I've been exploring this, this process. Also, like I do a patch, I do a performance, then I'm going to tweak it for the next performance, and then tweak it on the next performance, and then one stage I say, okay, time for me to commit it, and record it and release an album.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, then start again. But I like to, trial it at various performance, and then from there see the crowd reaction, people's reaction, and have a little bit time of decompressing and then hearing it with a new ear, and then say, okay.
Yeah, there's like a mourning process for me every time I finish. No, mourning is probably not mourning, but in the happy sense. I don't know what that would be, but more like relishing, I guess. I don't know, just like enjoying. Like you let it, like you finish it, you finally say it's done, and you kind of like sit back and enjoy it. Realize all the things you screwed up, so that you don't do that in the next iteration.
Right. Let your kids go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Let them have their life on their own. No?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's interesting. All right. Oh yeah, that girl also is leaving us. So yeah, we've rushed the top of the hour. That's usually the time I'm starting to rewind and finish this show. I'm usually not exactly on the time. If the conversation is good, and it's a good conversation. Just remind people, if you have some question to Carnalex, ask them in the chat. And also for the people that are rewatching this, you can put it in the comment, and I'll hunt Carnalex to make sure he comes and answers them. So, feel free to ask questions in the comments. And even if you're watching that, these things in 1 year, I'm still watching who's making comments, so I'll hunt people. So you say you're going to release that as a track. Do you have any other projects? Performance project. What's coming up? What's next?
What's next? Hopefully a lot of. So I might be moving out of my apartment. So life sometimes, like, all the logistics get in the way, but I plan to just stream, and play live. That's my goal, is to play live, and so I'm trying to do everything I can. But right now I'm fully focused on in the deep weeds of this modular journey right now, of just and so I don't have much scope for anything else. I'm trying to learn open frameworks to do some visuals. So I'm trying to learn the C++ aspect of it. So in 10 years, hopefully I'll be able to do some cool visuals, but that's like a low intensity project that I just, I see what everybody's doing with visuals and Left Coast Light, like just awesome stuff everywhere. And I'm like, I want to do something like that,
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I think I've heard that you may be performing at Resonant Frequencies.
Yes. I believe it's already official, and if not, you just made it. But yes, I'll be performing on the year anniversary of the COVID, of the online stuff, and it was great for me also to kind of like wrap up this whole 1 year cycle. That's why I wanted to do it, because it's also my own cycle with Modular, and it felt like a nice way of just closing everything.
So here you go.
Thanks for outing it, Frank.
Yeah, next Sunday. So next Sunday, I'll when you go back the news, then just please check Resonant Frequency. I'll put back the link. That's quite some nice project. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the news, but is there anything that we miss, or you want to talk, or you want to do a shout out?
No, just thank you, and thank everybody in the chat for just being awesome in general. I love the community.
All right, let me set up back everything ready for the news again. Need to change that. Sorry, a little bit. I'm the only one to control all the technology. I should put it like this so you can be with me on the news this time. So we can see you on the screen and myself too. Alright, pitchymango.org, that's my site. Please check it out, subscribe to the mailing list, and also I would like to thank all my Bandcamp supporters. That's a little bit my Patreon like. That's very nice, and get access to all my previous music on Bandcamp and a couple of message and stuff. Bbimproviser.com, that's not for Bbimproviser, but I like to put event and the new next show also. I put them here. But we've got so Resident on April 13 at 8 p.m. and we'll have Intent Fun, Fez, Justin, Manifold Theory, Mr. Unruly, and Next Expanse. We spoke about Resonant Frequencies, which is a full live shows, and it's on the April 4th at 6 p.m. and Carnalex is one of the performers, and it's all live with live visuals. It's really awesome. So I think it's this Sunday, upcoming, not tomorrow, Sunday in a week. We've got a Modular World Anniversary Show. It's 1 year. 24 hours of performance. This is the first set of performers. Will be performing there also, and I see some people that were in the chat like Alphaster, Malarkey, and a couple of other people, sorry. And that's the second set of performers. So I don't know when Jono is going to sleep. 24 hours show, so performance plus interview. I don't know, good luck, but it's really awesome that he organized this stuff. It's really nice. Really. I've been watching Soundquest Fest Live, which is this weekend. It's a lot of ambient music. It's really nice. It's organized by Steve Roach. So, an old friend. I saw Ian Brody. I saw Robert Rich and Mike Myers and a few other people. I don't know. Here are all the artists. There we go. Let me put it on the list. So, awesome artist, and you can put that and then do some other things. Really neat. When is Bandcamp Friday? Well, not yet, but it's on April 2nd, so it's this upcoming Friday. And some suggestion, you've got Consequence of Tomorrow from Malarkey, and Malarkey gave us a little movie, so here's a movie. And if like Malarkey you want me to promote your news or whatever, just send me an email or on chat or whatever, or send me some movies, short clip, and I will be glad to do it. And the other one is a Burn Beginning from Wabi Sabi. Did I put the Malarkey one? No, I didn't put the Malarkey one. Okay, hold on. I need to put the link in the chat. And the other one is from Wabi Sabi, Burn Beginning. Here we go, and back with X-Friends, and I should put your Bandcamp.
Yes.
And your Instagram. Here we go, so you can follow Carnalex, X-Ran everywhere. Alright, that was a fun show. I had a great time. Thanks Sensor Music. Thanks everyone that was there. Alphaster, Ben Brown, That Girl, Peronosphora, Alex Barnett, Malarkey, Wokas Mesha. What did I miss? I miss a few people, I'm sure.
Ben Brown.
Yeah, Ben Brown. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Frank. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you.
Yeah, it was fun. And at the beginning of the show, I did a 5 minutes from quadraphonic to binaural. I'll do a tutorial soon. Let me know in the comment, if you rewind the show, let me know in the comment if the binaural is working for you and you can hear the quadraphonic around around you. That would be good feedback. Thank you very much. Next week. No, not next week. The week after, I'm receiving Frey, daughter of Drexia. And I think we are going to talk quadraphonic. So please watch out this space. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carnalex.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everybody. Love.
Love, everyone. Have a nice weekend.